Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host with the green.
I'm your host, John Tui.
This is Dark Side of the Moon. Let's get to it, motherfuckers. Now you say up, and away. So, all right, no, we're back for another episode, Dark Side, in our one shot, and we're going to focus on the biggest what if that could have been asked, and it wasn't even asked by Marvel, and that is what if Superman had landed in Soviet era Russia. And
12 hours later, just the Earth had rotated that much further.
What do you mean? No, it's set in 1940s, dude.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, he arrived in a different... Well, see, that's when Superman started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the original story of Superman. So,
yeah.
It's exactly the start, the real start of Superman. But the capsule was a few hours later or earlier.
Yeah.
And Earth's axis was such and such a way that he landed. I always... and it's really well said already, man. The what if, and Marvel didn't even do it. You're absolutely right, because I've read a lot of what ifs and nothing has ever touched Red Sun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Superman Red Sun, were like it's based on the comic book, like the last show we talked about in Dark Side Hush, and I've read this comic book more recently, so it was a little bit fresh in my mind, but a lot of the elements I'd forgotten, and I just thought it was such a fucking genius idea for a story, and the way they put it together is such an excellent movie. Like, I would have loved to have seen this done in a fucking feature length, like live action movie. It's so genius. Like some of the shots of Joseph Stalin, like, look straight out of the history books. It's just so well done that, like, and just the little questions that you always ask when you change a little, like one major thing, like how does it affect the Soviet Union? How does it affect other communist countries? How does it affect
the nature nurture conversation with a single individual is in there? Like, it is macro and micro. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just I think it was so well done that, like, it's kind of like, do you remember in The Watchmen, where it showed how the Cold War would have played out if Dr. Manhattan had existed?
It was Vietnam, wasn't it?
And
it was both.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it just shows you the impact one superior being can have on the world. And if, like, you know what I mean? And it just shows you that. I just loved the way it just tilted everything so slightly that, like, not only did Russia become an even more complete superpower, that you had the Soviet Union being taken over eventually by Superman because he found out about the gulags, and it's cool that he still had this weird moral compass to do the right thing, but the way he went about doing it was completely alien to the Superman we came to know and love. So it was just brilliantly done that they encapsulated all this Soviet era of secrecy and ideals within this Superman, even though his version of right was still quite different than the Soviet Union that he ends up supplanting and taking over. It was still quite different than the Superman that we know from canon. So I thought it was really, really cool and really, really well done how they skewed Superman in this movie.
It was amazing, is what it was, wasn't it? When they of its era, the whole kind of the way we kind of perceive people, but into the fray of just superheroes, the Green Lantern Corps that show up in it, the Bizarro was Superior Man, and Lex Luthor.
No, that was sorry, was Bizarro Superior Man, or was that Brainiac?
No. Superior Man was Bizarro.
When did Brainiac show up? Because
Brainiac shows up, and Superman takes him down quite easily, and to the best of his knowledge, reprograms him.
Yeah.
And Brainiac, of course, who is just a calculator at the end of the day, so played along because that was the best way to get to where he actually wanted to be. And patience is also a great thing
when you're a robot.
Yeah, when you're a robot, exactly. When time's not exactly against you. But this had so many spinning plates. The Soviet Batman, phenomenal.
Yeah, man. As soon as I seen that kid, and he was like, "Where were you?" To see you can hear a feather fall. Or was it a leaf fall from 100 miles away or some shit? But you could, but yet you could not hear our cries, and then all the bats scattered behind him. I'm like, "That's Batman."
Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's inquisitive mind, man. That's how you did that. Yeah, but it was cool because just a kid looking up. And it's that's always the thing about Batman. He's an overachiever, even looking at something like what Superman actually is, and he thinks, I'm taking that fucker down.
Yeah, man, I loved Soviet Batman. It was really well done. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I said I was
10 minutes to evacuate.
Yeah,
Boom.
Yeah,
That I said 10 minutes.
Pure Joker. That was pure Joker, wasn't it? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, no, he didn't come to fuck around.
Yeah,
he did not come. The ones who got fat on the Superman, they were just as big as bad guys to him as Superman himself. He had no patience for them whatsoever. Those who worshipped at the altar of Superman were just as bad. So it was just a great character.
It was so fucking well done though. Like the Batman was the good guy, but he was doing villainous things. He was the supreme edge of anti-hero, really. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he was taking out the establishment, but like he was like killing people like a motherfucker in this. And like the difference, like I love the fight scene with Superman later on, where he uses the red sun lamps brought to him by Lex Luthor, who we talk about, who's the kind of like the fucking hero of the piece, which
again
is really
a little bit anti-heroish, but like mostly heroish, to be fair. I mean, he became president and he solved the deficit. He solved poverty. He solved it. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Exactly. Like, it's just so well done. It just shows you how one little event can change everything around it. Like,
yeah. What I loved about the Batman was that Superman was unleashed in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could destroy. He could just take. He wasn't like that whole that great speech in the Justice League cartoon where he's fighting Darkseid and he just says, "All my life, I've lived in a world that feels like it's made of cardboard." But now we've got a rare opportunity, someone who can take it. But this Superman was unleashed. This Superman didn't have to worry about these things. So for Batman to even make a move, like even come to ground, he had to get 25, 30 things in motion, in place. And even when then that was the ballsiness. When Batman even just stood atop a roof, you were thinking, God, he's already so much cooler than anybody else in this film. Because, like even just to stand up. Because Superman, again, don't forget, Superman's also a genius.
You
know what I mean? So it's not like, he's got the brawn, but not the brains. No, he has everything. Everything. You have to be a tactician. That's not even a genius. And the detective Batman was replaced with a tactician Batman. But to the exact same degree.
Guerrilla warfare Batman.
Like guerrilla warfare Batman,
Like insurgency Batman.
I told you like that when, it was just the other day when we were talking, I said we should do this and you were like, fine. And I told you, because I know you'd read the comics, that it is very close to the comics. It says very, very true to the comics, but they bring it to life. And did you find that when you were watching it, that you were just like, fuck me, this is just incredible?
Man, I loved it because it was like it was less that I was watching a superhero movie set in the era of the Soviet Union. It was more like I was watching an actual historical movie, like the way they did the maps and how they were expanding, how he was going into Korea, and this like I just love the way alternate history. I absolutely loved For All Mankind season 1 of that, Man the High Castle, and like Watchmen, like I talked about earlier, and I just love the way they obviously they brought all the elements of the comic book.
You love reimaginings, even just having it as an author, just the stuff that you've just as being a friend of yours, the stuff that you get into. I knew when I recommended this one, I knew like, I've definitely dished him up something that he's gonna absolutely chomp down on.
Exactly. Like the first time I heard about this story is like Superman lands in Soviet era Russia.
Our friend John Riley had this comic, if I remember correctly.
I think Dara Byrne might be the first person to ever tell me about it. Like that's how long ago I heard about it. I heard about it a long time before I actually read it. And it was like Lex Luthor's the good guy, Superman's kind of like the bad guy, and he lands. And I was like, oh my god, it fucking sounds amazing. And I read the comic book a few years ago, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. And then I found out it got made into a live action, and I hadn't caught the live action. And when you said it, I was like, holy shit! I just realized I hadn't watched it yet. So I was so happy. And when I watched it, it's like they brought the comic book alive, but just the way it encapsulated the style of storytelling that's often used by movies that are talking about World War II or the Korean War or the Cold War era and all that kind of stuff. So I just loved the style that was used in the movie to bring it to life, not just from the adaptation, but in terms of the style and how it encapsulated that period of time from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, all the way up into the 80s, where the story kind of starts wrapping up. And I just love that, where it really covered everything about the Cold War, but because of Superman's existence in a totally different way, it just skewed those events completely. He killed Stalin. He takes over the Soviet Union.
He kills Stalin because of the gulags.
Yeah.
And then he kind of starts inching into Stalin territory.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was great because that was Stalin's entire speech. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He goes, you just need to trust that everything I'm doing is for the ultimate good of our, our deals and whatnot. And of course, I'm paraphrasing and doing a bad job of it, but he gives him the whole spiel. But he gives him the whole spiel about you just need to trust.
Yeah.
And Superman was so disgusted that he kills him.
Yeah.
And then later, as he's kind of reprogramming people, even including some of his best friends, one who he wasn't even allowed to commit suicide. And you start, and I thought it led to that brilliant thing. I remember reading this comic, and it's Lex Luthor, who is just as smart as Superman. Like, we're talking like superpower, like, Tony Stark levels intelligence that's never existed in this world.
Yeah.
And he has a piece of paper and he's writing on it, and he's delighted with himself. He has this like this will just absolutely blow them away. And the piece of paper says, why not just put the whole world in a bottle?
Yeah.
Like he already had. And the fact of the matter is, even a genius didn't have an answer for it. Just stuff like that gave me chills when I was watching it. I just thought it was the most beautiful rendition of twisting the narrative that we've had for a superhero for so long that I've ever seen.
The Stalingrad in the fucking snow globe.
Stalingrad, that's the one. Yeah, sorry, I can't think of the place.
Yeah,
and he was like, but why not? Like, and then you'd have to think, wait a minute, seriously, why not?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that solve everything? Like, you could isolate, you could do this, you could control everybody in sectors. They, of course, they'd be so small that they could never rise up against you. Like, literally so small, they could never rise up against you. So why not just do that? And then he realized that, like if you're going to do it at all, just do it.
Become a literal god.
Yeah, and I thought, because I remember reading the comic and thinking, all right, this note, because it was such a clever comic, I thought this note's going to be mind-bending. This note's going to be like this whole like diatribe where it just takes his argument and breaks it down and point by point. Like, I was ready to read. I was ready for a page that was going to be the note. And then it was like, why not just put the whole world in a bottle? And I thought, oh my God, that is devastating. That is devastating. It's one of the best things I've ever read in a comic. I really loved it that much. It's just why I thought they brought this comic to life in such and I know, like, full credit to the directors and the producers and everyone, they couldn't deviate. Like, what do you, like, who are you to say what that story needed? That's an excellent story.
Yeah,
that's an excellent story. Bring it to life. Don't fuck with it. Bring it to life.
I just loved the way, like, they brought Soviet Batman up, because, like, Superman was the reason his inactions were the reason that, like, he created Batman. We got to see, like, Hal Jordan, the different version of how the Green Lantern Corps came to be.
Guy Gardner and John Stewart and a few of the Green Lanterns.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I thought that was cool. Do you remember next your man's like, oh, we have to contain it or something? They want to do examinations in case there's, like, he would say, like, radioactive, and Lex Luthor just, like, cuts the dude's finger off. I just like, that's a pure Lex Luthor move, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's a boss Lex Luthor move. Yeah.
That's what I loved about, like, that it shows the strength of these characters when used in very interesting ways. Like, that Lex Luthor just doesn't have to be this maniacal fucking egomaniac that wants to just is hell bent on world domination. Like, what if his genius was used in a different way altogether? What would be the effects of that? Like,
what if somebody's just operating on a level that you Vincent and me know we can't operate on? We can't. We don't have, and there's a great line in it. Sorry to speak over you, man. I do apologize. But there's a boo. But, like, the whole thing was that to wield the ring, you have to be able to overcome great fear. Yeah, that's literally the thing.
Because of parallax.
Because parallax. But and also it's the strongest case of will. The strongest thing we can do is overcome great fear. But at this, they were flying, and John Stewart said, we've got something coming in quick. Wait, real quick. And he's, are you afraid? He goes, we don't have the luxury of being afraid.
Yeah.
And again, like Lex Luthor didn't have the luxury of time.
Yeah.
Like what you were up against is so gargantuan that even Lex Luthor, the genius, didn't know if there was like radioactivity, blah blah blah, whatever around that ring. All he knew is this could be a game changer. I want it, so he went to God, and that was a calculated risk.
What do you make of the fight sequence between the Lantern Corps and Superman?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he was able to pick them all apart.
He fucking whooped them, man.
He fucking whooped them.
Yeah.
And then when they did get the edge, Diana showed up, Wonder Woman.
Why did she rapidly age when Batman was fighting Superman?
It was because she something got to do with the rope, the lasso of truth or whatever it was called, to actually break. Like, it's a god tier weapon created by the gods. So what it actually cost her to break it, was so much that it took a toll on immortality. Yeah, and it actually took a toll on immortality
because she broke truth or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. So even though she could technically live to be 25 trillion years old and not live a day and not age a day, it was so taxing that it actually took something from her. And in that case, it took none of her like vigor or anything like that, but it took her hair. I think she became gray and stuff like that, which I thought was cool, like, you know, because that's the thing that her whole thing is she's operating on the Shazam, Dr. Fate, Xanadu kind of level where she's Zatanna, level where she's a magic-based creature. But,
Xanadu's like a musical or something, is it?
It's a Rush song to me by the band Rush. I don't know what it is after
that. So like one of the scenes I touched on a second ago was the Batman Superman fight scene. When Batman kills himself, that moment was fucking epic. Like when he just blows himself up because he knows he's defeated, and Superman's going to like brainwash him and put him in like a laundry house or some shit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just I love the look of Batman's face. He just knows he's completely defeated, and he just
comes back to the boy. The boy who looked at Superman and was like, you know, to say you can hear a leaf fall from whatever. It was like, this is probably going to be how I die. Yeah. But every step I take from this point forward is going to be to take you down. Every step. And if it's my last step and I don't win, then fine, because I went down swinging. Yeah. And that determination, that is so incredibly Batman. Yeah. Like, that's incredibly Gotham's Batman. That's incredibly him.
Doesn't retire. He's going to do till he dies.
Doesn't retire. We said it in the last podcast. Does not retire. Yeah. Does not retire. When the bones give up, he becomes an oracle. Whatever. It just does not retire.
I'm surprised that he never used the kryptonite bomb in that moment. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? Maybe he just didn't have it. I don't know, because in that world they didn't know the weakness of Superman because they didn't really use kryptonite against him.
He figured out the whole red sun thing. Yeah. But maybe not, like,
because he simulated their natural atmosphere, because he figured out.
That's it.
Yeah, I love that scene though, because the worry on Superman's face when he actually gets hurt for the first time.
Like, it's not brilliant. There was a comic called The Plutonian, I think, and it was about this Superman type character gone rogue. Yeah, and he starts killing people like en masse. It's a great comic series. Couldn't recommend it enough. I will do. And he said there's even a scene where one guy kind of manages to upgrade his power to to degrees that the Plutonian didn't know he could do. Yeah. And he goes, see, you know what the difference is between, like, our power is similar, but you know what the difference between me and you right now is? You never had to learn how to fight.
Yeah, I was thinking that too when he was fighting Superman.
That's it. You never had to learn how to fight. Because you could throw a punch at the speed of sound that could crack a mountain. Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah,
what
man.
universe?
I swear to God, I went through the exact same thought process when I was watching that, and I was like, the reason Superman's getting his ass handed to him is because he never needed to learn how to fight properly.
He's never known what a punch was. I remember, again, the same comic series, like, you know, the family defines the Plutonian in a very Superman way. It's him like crawling across the table, but he crawls across the stove, and it's like a boiling hot stove, and he just like waddles along because, again, he just, you know, it would take. Nuclear armaments wouldn't hurt him, so a stove isn't going to do anything. And again, you never ever had to learn how to fight, and now that we're on an even footing, you can't possibly take me.
Yeah,
because exactly. I had to learn painfully how to fight.
Yeah.
And I always loved that. And
Yeah.
that was the thing that Batman had on him. He goes, like, to prepare for this, I went through shit that you wouldn't even dream of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just to be
You were
alive
playing
in this
chess with
moment.
Lex Luthor. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's what you were fucking doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that moment though, man. Like, because just like it shows you though, like how dangerous Batman is on it. Like if Superman was a human, Batman would take him out long ago. It just shows you the
Oh yeah,
differences.
easily. Oh yeah, that'd be nothing.
Differences,
That'd be
yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
Like a Superman's a force of nature, as you said. He did like he never had to learn how to fight. That's the exact same thought process I had when I was watching that fucking scene. And I was like, that's why he's getting his ass handed to him, because if you're invincible, like you wouldn't need to learn how to defend yourself. You know what I mean? So you're just taking pot shots to the face, and you just grab a guy by his head, you can just crush him and explode his head, kind of like Homelander. You don't need to learn how to defend yourself if you're totally invincible. And then when, you
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Like, but Batman, because he's fought all these people tooth and nail his entire life, especially the Soviet
Yeah.
Batman, he grew up in a gulag, for fuck's sake. So like,
A Batman that makes Batman look like nothing.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Like,
like, you know what I mean? So, and I love that scene, like, and the way they played with Superman's weaknesses, and they also show Batman's never-ending resolve when he decides to blow himself up instead of giving in to Superman's control and allowing himself to be brainwashed and become another servant to the Soviet fucking empire or whatever shit.
But that was it. He made Superman think as well. I always thought that there was a couple of points in that film where you thought Superman was learning. There was the why don't you put the world in a bottle, and there was the Batman blowing himself up rather than becoming subservient.
Yeah.
There was the way Lois Lane. Yeah, it's the way Lois Lane addressed him a couple of times. It was the way the Superior Man, when the Bizarro attacked him, and
I thought that was genius. For a split second, see, I think what happened was I was wearing my wireless headphones, watching that on my laptop, and I walked out of the room for a second, and I came back, and Brainiac showed up, and I was like, I was full sure Superior Man was going to be Bizarro, but maybe he was a robot underneath it, and I missed something. Because that's what I thought. Superior Man was
that's when Brainiac makes his move.
Basically. Yeah, I literally missed Brainiac was arriving. I was like, I was full sure that was going to be Bizarro, and it's Brainiac, and I was like, oh, who knew?
Well, if you're going to take him on when he's been through even what he would consider a fight.
So that's why I was like confused about that earlier on. I was like, shit, and But like, yeah, I really like the way they introduced Bizarro in this. That like this Superior Man, is that from the comic books? Was he initially called Superior Man before?
No, actually, no. Well, not to my knowledge, he was just Bizarro. But I think they went like Superman, and then there was even Superior Man, and then have him delve into being Bizarro and starts, instead of I am justice, me am justice.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. It was twisted and it was dark.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Lex Luthor created a monster, like, you know what I mean, like, as well, because like the way he kept like fucking amping him up, like I just
like he's already near critical mass. And he goes, I know, like, as in I know. What are you talking about? I don't even have a higher IQ than you. I have an entire digit more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, what are you telling me?
Tony Stark made this in a cave, sir. We're not Tony Stark.
Exactly. That's the line. It's not the best. You go back to that line so often. Yeah. Such a great line. Tony Stark made it in a cave. Well, then get Tony Stark.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
It's like that thing where I'm not buying it for that. I could get it at such a place for such a price. Well, then go there and get it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I don't know. Why are you telling me?
Yeah, because a lot of times you're like, oh, you have a master's degree. He's like, yeah, but I'm studying the technology this dude just created. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. It's levels.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's just levels.
Yeah,
and that's it. And to the degree Superman can lift a mountain, Batman had will.
Yeah, and unbreakable.
To the degree Superman can lift a mountain, Luthor had resolve.
Yeah, the way Superman would lift a mountain to move it, Lex Luthor would figure a way of going through it. It's that kind of thing. Like,
that's
you know
it.
What I mean? Yeah, it's like
he was operating a incredible level.
Yeah, this movie showed as well, like when you pick different eras, that you can use these characters in completely different ways as well.
Yeah,
and that's what I loved about it though. Like, you know what I mean? Like a JFK fucking was the guy that started the Lantern Corps and like hired Hal Jordan and shit like that. And I love the way they were dressed was more like fighter pilots and shit like that, because that was the technology kind of the time, like, you know what I mean? So I love the way they just kind of incorporated something I think I mentioned in the Captain America episode with Don Shanahan, I love when they use future technology and retrofit it to older technology, because your understanding of technology would still remain to the technology you were initially
Yes.
exposed to. So he
Yeah.
would use the futuristic technology in a completely different way than we would today,
Yeah.
even though
An
it's still
equivalency. Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I love about this movie, that the future technologies that Superman and stuff introduced, but was used in a completely different way, because the world he was exposed to is completely different than how we would perceive futuristic technology today, or Superman in modern age would do. And I just love that kind of thing about when you do alternate history storylines, because when you add these new elements and how it just evolves different things and how it skews the world, and it just shows you really how malleable humanity is in these kind of sometimes over the top stories. But it shows you how one event, how one person dying at a specific time, one person doing this, invading here, attacking here, whatever. You look at World War II, there's like dozens of moments where the world could have ended up in a completely different way. And you see that in Man High Castle, and then it shows you how the world would have been because of Nazi winning the war and stuff like that. So I just love when he shows you how what the Soviet Union looks like underneath Superman, and how Superman is affected by the way he controls the Soviet Union. I just thought that was just fucking genius storytelling. And that's why I absolutely fucking, I think I texted Lorraine near the end of it. And I was just like, this is just an excellent movie. And it's just, that's the best thing I can say about it, that it incorporated all of its elements and all the things I love in alternate history. And it just skewed things in such a believable, perfect way, in the
Yeah.
way it incorporated all the elements from its own universe as well. And I thought it was fucking genius at times.
So stylistically, storytelling, and aesthetically,
Yeah,
it didn't let you down.
some of the shots, man, of Stalin, like I remember when he's on the dam,
Yeah.
like fucking hell, like that was so well done. Looked so real, so textured. The animation style in this like was so beautifully done. Like when Lex Luthor is showing like his like does he have like a mechanical kind of like production line type thing, and you see
Mm.
all these things kind of moving, and like I'm sitting here like where I am now with this close to my laptop, and I could see every little detail, and it was just so fucking real looking. And it was like, and so textured, and like, not to repeat myself, but that's what you look for in top quality animation when you're talking about aesthetics, is when you can kind of break that wall and you look into it and you can kind of see the reality within that kind of fabricated reality. And that's why when you have CGI or top level animation, that it really is eye catching, because you can see the realism within this top level stuff. And that's what I loved about the times. Some of the shots of the Soviet era Russia, some of the shots of Stalin looked completely like they were just taken from that era, like black and white Superman and stuff when he's attacking Korea and stuff like this, when he's attacking the troops there. I just thought it was, everything about it was fucking so well done. It captured all the elements that I tried to really well. Like,
It did. I don't think it. I don't. That's it. Like, I mean, we critique films a lot, and this is why I've sometimes said to you in private that get me some shit films.
yeah,
Because, but this,
like
I'm sorry,
Malignant.
we've gone completely the other way. All I can do is drool. It's
Yeah,
just so good,
so good, so well done.
so well done,
Yeah,
so well rendered,
yeah,
so well. Just a great series brought to life, and it pulled on the heartstrings a bit. Even when Superman has to drag the Brainiac ship out into deep space,
oh, that's
like
amazing.
yeah, and what is it he says? Well played, or something like that. His last thought is of Lex.
Yeah,
And like, and the fact that their relationship, although completely and totally adversarial, was also based on a complete foundation of respect.
yeah, like Captain America and Iron Man, every time they're not
Like,
around each other, they always speak well about each other.
exactly,
Yeah,
that there's like
if you don't
there's
admire your adversary, then you're doomed to lose against them because you never
but that's
respect them
it. And
properly.
also the film, like, don't get me wrong, I don't don't get me wrong. Superman was the bad guy in this when he became literally a dictator, but there was nobody that was intentions were out and out bad.
Yeah,
It's like the Joker is a classic, the Carnage, classic examples of people who are just out and out bad. It's not complicated.
yeah,
It's not complicated. Now, maybe their backstory is complicated, how they became so evil, that's complicated. But what they're doing is like tearing people up at a fun fair
yeah,
or gassing them to death. That's evil.
yeah,
You do not have to debate it. But with Superman, was genuinely trying to help the entire time. But his logic
yeah,
or his rearing said that this is how you do it.
yeah.
And
You
everybody,
subjugate the population to
you
make them happy.
subjugate the population because they don't know what's best for them.
Yeah,
And then Lex Luthor had a different way. Batman disagreed with all of this kind of Deanna Troi being another big one.
yeah,
But at the same time, nobody, not a single person who appeared in this movie even Brainiac, who was taken to the nth degree, where all that mattered was knowledge.
Yeah.
And if you don't have knowledge to offer, you have nothing to offer. Delete.
Yeah.
So everybody in this twisted, malformed way was kind of not necessarily a villain, which is kind of what's so twisted to me, because there was some out and out evil, and anything that involves the suffering of innocence is bad.
Everybody's the hero of their own stories.
But that's you know what? That's it. Everyone was kind of the hero of their own story.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Brainiac wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go out and cause as much suffering. It just was indifferent to the suffering.
Yeah, exactly. In the same way that like Superman's like, I don't want to cause suffering, I want to end suffering, and if I have to subjugate a population in terms of like I can turn all the criminal elements into like drones, I'll do that. And that if that ends suffering, that's what I'll do. And because he's had this skewed perception of what was right, because he was brought up underneath the tutelage of Joseph Stalin in this movie, that subjugation is what was best, because subjugation, he felt, is how you ended suffering. And he brought the subjugation to like the fucking its limits by turning these guys or these people into drones and having them like being mind controlled almost. And that's what I loved about it, that it shows that the Superman growing up in one sort of culture, even though he wants to set out and do right, that version of doing right is completely different than anything we could perceive. And it just shows you the cultural impact that can have on anybody around the world, whether if he landed in America, if he landed in Russia, if he landed in North Korea, like if he landed in China, if he landed in Ireland and England, he's a different Superman every single time. And it just shows you the cultural impact that can have on even someone so powerful as Superman. Like, so I just love that. Like, and that's what I did really well. It just shows you that, like you said earlier on, nature and nurture. It just shows you that even someone like a deity can be changed or twisted by the environment they grew up in. And you know what I mean? Like, so it's so brilliantly done. It really is a really, really good movie. I'd love to see a live action version of it, but I don't think we need to, because it's already there. It's so well done.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's actually so well done. And if we ever did and it was executed well, what a treat. But at the same time, if you wanted to explain the story to someone, there is an excellent film out there that you can go to.
100%.
And,
and it's not that long either,
I'm going to be 39 in a couple of weeks, and I don't give a shit. This is just, it's animated. Yeah, I know, animated, but this is an excellent.
When you hit film. 40, I'm going to have to hunt you down like in Logan's Run, right?
Yeah. Fuck you think I'm trying to like podcast, maybe make a bit of cash, so I could get a head start.
It won't matter. I'm a Sandman. I'll find you.
I'll buy myself. I'll make 41, not 42.
Logan's Run, the sexiest movie ever made. During I'm Friends. I got the Friends quotes too, Noel. I got the Friends knowledge too. Whipping out.
We're white people, so it was downloaded into our DNA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just injected.
Injected. I've never seen one, but I know all
Friends a dream.
my eyes. See? I don't know where that comes from. I've never seen an episode.
So no, before we get the fuck out of here, have you anything else to say about Red Son? And like, does this left you chomping at the bit to do more DC animation? Because it kind of has let me whet my appetite.
It is, well, it's a particularly stellar example of DC animation, but it is not the only one. Yeah. And so, yes, absolutely it has. But no, I think we touched upon this quite well. I really do. And we fanboyed over it and we drooled over it. But you know what? It's no less than it deserves.
Yeah, exactly. Because like we're only drooling because it's so appetizing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And, it was so thought-provoking as well.
Yeah.
It had and again, just to shout out to the director, it's Sam Liu. But it had so many aspects to it and layers to it that I just enjoyed on different levels. Again, like you say, it felt like it was of its era. Its people were of its era. It was the thoughts and concerns that they had were prevalent. And I also thought the technology was of its era. I also thought some of the thoughts, some of the ways that history kind of makes us remember this era were just so well incorporated, and it just dropped the Superman into it, and somehow it didn't become like cheap then by this superhero narrative, as things can at times be. It was just an excellent story. It
was like, let's just lift out the historical dictator and replace him with Superman as the dictator, and let's see how the world would develop with Lex Luthor being his opposing force. And then,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? And you have a Soviet Batman and how he would develop as a human being. Like, I love the Flashpoint. We see Thomas Wayne as Batman. Like, you know, it's like he's similar, but also different. And I love this kind of alterations, these little different iterations. And it really gives writers and storytellers an opportunity to play in other people's sandboxes, but not to be beholden to the canon or the pre-existing conditions of that sandbox. And that's why I think Mandalorian is done so well, like, because it's based within the Star Wars universe, and even though it's canon, it operates on its own terms and it's on its own level. And that's what I love about these kind of what if kind of scenarios,
Yeah.
because you can do whatever you want, how you want. It has no ramifications on the further universe and it exists solely as itself. And oftentimes it exists brilliantly because of all those freedoms and liberties you're able to take with the storyline and the characters, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Red Son's the perfect example of it.
Can you fault this? And now, just gun to your head, fault this?
No,
because I'm struggling.
No, like it's actually absolutely brilliant. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you know when you just have like a beautiful meal and it's affordable and you've had wonderful time and the wine was fantastic, but you just feel like, okay, like as in there was no butter at my table with my bread and I had to ask for it, so that's my complaint. Like, you feel like you would have to be the most nitpicky, absolutely disgusting little bitch to fucking do it. Exactly. And that's how I feel about this.
So like, my only complaint would be Green Lantern needs to make better manifestations when he's making stuff. The safe wrapped around people looks so fucking dumb. Like, oh my god. Jesus.
Or like, I know it would have been like as spectacular, but we should all go in and goes, all right, guys, remember safe. That's what it is. In like, don't try and take them on 1-on-1. Say, everyone remember say we're doing the safe. Yeah, it's a bit boring to say, just do the fucking safe.
Exactly. Like,
guy, just do the safe.
Like,
no, I want to do like, I want to do rockets, or maybe like a giant golf club that swings at night. Guy, I swear to fucking God, I will fucking take that ring.
Guy, you just have a terrible imagination. Imagine that.
Just have a terrible imagination. Just play it safe.
Yeah, this fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
I'm trying to shoot you. But before you get the fuck out of here,
you're operating on this level, and I'm up and away. I seen okay, for those at home, I seen the pain on Vinny's eyes. It was phenomenal. It was great.
I'm too tired for this.
It was a moment where he's, despite the fact that we're doing this for like a year and a quarter together, he rethought, I've seen it.
It's like, this shit again. But so like, anybody out there, check out Superman Red Son. It's fucking awesome. It's got awesome action. It really captures the time in history, but it skews it in a way that it makes perfect sense in the world that it's operating in. So I think it's an absolutely excellent movie, and it's not that big a commitment. It's only an hour and 20 minutes long. So for me, definitely check out Red Son. Noel, do you want to say anything else and we get the fuck out of here?
No, let's get the fuck out of here. Thanks so much for staying with us, folks. Lots of loves to you and your loved ones.
All right, folks. I'm your host, Vince Green.
And I'm your host, Noel John Tui.
And that was Dark Side of the Moon. And that was Superman Red Son. See you next time, motherfuckers. Check us out on Spotify. Peace.
Peace.
I'm a god, you're a madman. This is the word of Darkseid.